There is a silence that speaks louder than arguments. A silence that doesn't beg, doesn't explain, doesn't chase. When you walk away without anger, without drama, without trying to prove anything, something shifts inside her that she never expected. That silence becomes the beginning of her emotional reckoning. At first, she doesn't miss you. This is the part most men misunderstand. At first, she feels relief. Relief from pressure. Relief from expectations. Relief from emotional responsibility. She tells herself the distance is healthy, that she needed space, that she feels lighter now. Her mind convinces her she won, that she regained control, that walking away didn't affect her as much as you think. She stays busy. She distracts herself. She fills her time with noise so she doesn't have to feel the quiet you left behind. But this phase doesn't last. Because a woman's attachment doesn't disappear the moment you walk away. It goes underground. And when emotions go underground, they don't die. They grow roots. After the relief fades, curiosity begins. She starts wondering why you didn't chase. Why didn't you argue? Why didn't you send long messages trying to fix things? Why do you accept the distance so calmly? This is where Allena's psychology becomes clear. A woman expects emotional pursuit when she pulls away. She expects reassurance. She expects pressure. She expects resistance. Your absence breaks her emotional prediction. And when her predictions break, her mind starts searching for meaning. She replays conversations in her head. She remembers moments she took for granted. Not the big ones, the small ones. Your tone, your patience, your presence, the way you were steady when she was unsure. This is when missing you begins quietly, without drama. She doesn't wake up crying for you. She wakes up unsettled. Something feels off. The emotional safety net she assumed would always be there is suddenly gone. And that absence starts echoing in places she didn't expect. Then comes comparison. She meets other people. She talks to other men. She laughs. She posts. She pretends life moved on. But emotionally, something feels flat. The attention feels loud but empty. The connection feels shallow. And that's when your absence becomes noticeable. Not because you were perfect, but because you were familiar, grounded, real. Your energy had weight. Your presence had stability. And once it's gone, her nervous system notices the difference. This is when she starts missing you, not as a person, but as an emotional experience. Allena's psychology explains this clearly. Women don't miss men because of logic. They miss men because of emotional contrast. When the emotional contrast becomes sharp enough, the memory of you becomes stronger than the distractions around her. She remembers how she felt around you, not what you did, how she felt. Calmer, safer, seen, chosen. And once she remembers that feeling, it starts pulling at her from the inside. Now guilt slowly enters the picture. She begins questioning her choices, not openly, not out loud, but internally. She wonders if she misread you, if she pushed too hard, if she assumed you'd always be there. This guilt isn't about hurting you. It's about realizing she lost something stable. And guilt is a powerful emotional amplifier. As days pass, the silence grows heavier. Your absence becomes normal on the surface, but louder underneath. She checks her phone more often. She wonders if you're doing fine without her. And that thought unsettles her more than missing you itself. Because now the story changes. Before, she believed you needed her more than she needed you. Now she's not sure. And uncertainty is uncomfortable for a woman who believed she had emotional control. This is the turning point. She begins to miss you, not because you left, but because you stayed gone. If you had chased, she would have felt powerful. If you had argued, she would have felt justified. If you had begged, she would have felt secure. But your calm withdrawal forces her to face something she didn't expect. That your life didn't collapse without her. That realization hits deeper than words. She starts imagining you moving on, laughing without her, growing without her, becoming emotionally unavailable to her. And that image creates emotional urgency. This is when missing turns into desire. Not desire for attention, desire for reconnection, desire to restore what felt emotionally safe, desire to feel chosen again. But here's the important part most men miss. She doesn't reach out immediately. A woman's pride delays her actions. Her ego resists vulnerability. She doesn't want to look like the one who lost. So she waits. She watches. She tests from a distance. She may like an old post, View your story. Ask mutual friends about you. Or casually check in with a simple message. Not because she suddenly wants a relationship, but because she wants to feel if the emotional door is still open. If you respond calmly, without resentment, without desperation, something powerful happens. Her attraction deepens. Because now she feels what she feared. That you're not chasing, but you're not bitter either. You're centered. And centered men are magnetic. At this stage, she starts romanticizing the past. She remembers the good more than the bad. She softens the conflicts in her mind. She questions her assumptions. And the emotional bond she thought was gone resurfaces stronger than before. This is where many men ruin everything. They unload emotions. They seek explanations. They reopen old wounds. They chase the reconnection instead of letting it come naturally. But Allena's psychology teaches a different lesson. The reason she started missing you was because you didn't need her to regulate your emotions. The moment you start needing her again, the dynamic flips. When you stay grounded, something shifts in her identity. She begins to feel like she lost a man who had emotional strength. A man who could walk away without drama. A man who respected himself enough not to chase uncertainty. And that realization is what makes missing you intense. Not sadness, not loneliness. Respect. Respect creates longing. Whether she comes back or not depends on one thing: how you handle yourself during the silence. Walking away doesn't make her miss you by itself. Walking away with dignity does. If she comes back, it's because she felt the emotional contrast. If she doesn't, it means she was never capable of valuing stability anyway. Either way, you win. Because the goal was never to make her miss you. The goal was to stop abandoning yourself for someone who stepped away. And that is the kind of man women remember long after the silence ends.